once you start doing video and you start messing with it,
just figure out the best plan.
Yeah, you'll be able to get this room set up real well. Yeah, and obviously you can get different bulbs too.
Yeah, right, because those are probably pretty old.
Once you go LED or something, they'll look amazing.
And I can pick the color temperature.
Yep. Well, we're live. We're recording.
Cool.
So, what is up, everyone? This is episode 3 of the Purpose and Passion podcast. I am John Ludwick, and I am currently in Providence, Rhode Island at the Revival Motoring headquarters with my good friend Josh Garcia. Josh, what is going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
This is awesome, man. So we have sat down for 2 of your Revival Motoring podcasts, and yet we're still in your studio, but the roles have never been reversed.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's funny, like even hearing you say Revival Motoring headquarters, just like, what? That doesn't, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Because I know this is a new
weird
spot, because when we recorded the last 2, we were at a different spot in Providence, but you've been referring to it as the headquarters every time you post about it.
Yeah.
So, let's run with it.
It's
Revival headquarters.
It's me calling it is just kind of funny, you know, or us personally, like Chuck, Cory, everybody referring to it as that. It's just funny to me. But hearing somebody else say it's like, oh shit, it's true. It is kind of
this is a real thing now.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Even though we've been doing it a couple months, but
you know, when you said that you moved into a new space, I couldn't wrap my head around the amount of space you had for what you said the deal was, and then not being here. It's like, man, what a setup.
So, I mean, on the space, like it was one of those things where, what's the quote I read the other day? No pressure, no diamond.
True.
So,
very true. Yeah.
So this came up and I'm just like, we got to do this. We'll figure it out. We just have to do it, because the old space that you actually went to, you know, mice infested, fly infested, you know, death metal band on the roof infested, and not quite knowing what we're going to walk into every Wednesday to go record, as well as keep our cars there. Yeah. It was cheap, sure, but there was so many unknowns to it. It just
variables involved. Yeah.
This came up and I'm just, let's do it. Let's figure it out.
Even the one of the 2 of the episodes I sat in with you, there's some kid was going up and down the street in some like import car that just sounded crazy, and the exterior wall of the street was right outside the window.
And I mean, realistically, we recorded it in a janitor's closet, and then it got so hot in there we had no choice but to open the window.
That's right.
So opening the window would mean everything from outside comes in, and potentially over the mics, not everything, but from fire trucks to police sirens, people yelling and screaming, to full-on domestic disputes.
You said that there was one. Some dude was like hitting some woman out in the street or something crazy.
Yeah, that wasn't while we were recording. I was actually working on the M3 that day. And I was there with my son, and like
that's right.
It was just one of those scenarios where we just finished up, getting ready to go, and I go outside and there's just this scene happening in front of us, and I'm just like, buddy, get in the car. And matter of fact, you know, as much as I make fun of the death metal band that was there because they lived on the side of us, that dude came out as well, and we just kind of looked at each other like, all right, we're gonna have to go over there, like, because it was, you know, which seemed like forever, but was only unfolding in about 10 or 15 seconds.
Right.
And then as soon as that dude who was committing the crime noticed the entire neighborhood looking at him, he just got in his car, drove off.
Yeah.
So you know, it wasn't
crazy.
For what it was. It could have gotten a lot worse, but. That was the place. So, you know, this is quite an upgrade in comparison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even as far as everything you want to do that involves Revival, I mean, you're setting up an overhead softbox for shooting cars out there, and to have an actual, I mean, what's the square footage? 5,600?
I believe it's about 5,600. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And most of it's like open, like workshop usable space.
We're going to have essentially 2 lifts set up. I'll be able to kind of build, I keep calling it like a studio.
Yep.
And I say studio I'm sorry, like a film set, essentially.
Right.
Because I have the softbox that's kind of in development that's going to be used to light the cars, obviously. Then just to the left of that, I'm going to build a set, essentially, for interviews. So everybody who comes in to shoot a film on their car, it's going to be kind of set up the same way. You know, something people, consistency, right? Something people know what they can expect. We'll do the interview in that spot. show the car in the same manner, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah, you'll have a continuity to it.
Exactly.
Of sorts.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool that you've made the jump into like YouTube now as well and doing some of those like shorts.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and I just really like, film stuff. Oh, sorry. That's my, what's really funny is, I don't know if everybody can hear that. I have an alarm set for 11:18 every day to tweet Elon Musk.
Oh, what? Do you need to get on that?
Because I want him to come on the Revival Motoring podcast.
So that's a good excuse for having your phone on. Cause I was about to make a joke. I remember my first podcast. My ringer on.
I just like every day, or I try to every day tweet him. Because I figure, all right, he's a West Coast lad.
That is hilarious.
So it's right around 8 in the morning or so.
Yep.
Get him at that right prime time. Wow. Although he's a plug-in robot, so who really knows?
Yeah, seriously.
But I'm either going to get blocked, which is most likely going to happen.
I doubt it. The stuff that he probably receives.
That's you're not, or it's just going to be a fly on the wall, and I'll never even be recognized. But who knows? Who knows? It'd be pretty funny if.
Well, do you need to send one out?
I'll get him later today.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to miss those prime hours.
I'll talk. Yeah. Well, I'll hit him up a couple times today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I thought I could hear something. I'm like, no, there's no way. What's going on in here?
Yeah. No, that's
a perfect.
It's my Musk alarm.
Yep. That's perfect. Well, you guys are usually recording Revival in the evenings too, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We record
Thursday evenings usually.
Excuse me, taking a sip. We record every Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesdays. Yeah. Okay.
Because the show comes out Thursday. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
and good for you for having a weekly. This is only episode 3 for me, and it just so happens that Cory's been up to my place the first 2 episodes we did, and it was over a weekend. So we recorded on a Saturday, and I thought, well, I'll take this Saturday night or possibly Sunday to do all the editing and uploading and all that stuff and have it up for a Monday morning commute or something.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. Everyone's done with their weekend and Monday's like a drag. So maybe Monday morning would be a nice time for them to like listen to something. And then I realized, like, once summer gets here, the amount of weekends I'm going to be away, even if I'm away recording a podcast, but won't have the time to sit down and edit and get something up for Monday morning.
Yep.
I realized like a Monday morning weekly thing is probably like not going to last too long.
So what happened with us was, we're up to 83 episodes now. We're going to record the 84th episode this upcoming Wednesday. So somewhere around, I don't know, 40 episodes or something, and maybe it was, I don't know, whatever, somewhere around the time frame, we had recorded like 2 episodes in 2 days because either the next week I was traveling or Tripperz was traveling.
You lined it up.
We wanted to make sure we had something covered for the week after.
Yeah.
That spiked me to think, oh crap. One thing I didn't like about the show was that we're like a week behind. So any news that we talk about kind of has gone through a whole week's news cycle. And even though we talked about it when it was relevant, to me, it was irrelevant.
Right.
So just talked to Chuck and Cory. I was like, hey, what do you think about us putting this out on Thursdays versus the following Wednesday or whatever?
Right.
And obviously, they agreed and it was a no-brainer. It created a little more work for me and a little longer nights on Wednesdays. But realistically, I got my editing and posting down to like a half hour, 45 minutes or so.
Wow.
So it's not too bad.
Oh yeah. And you're dealing with audio.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. No video.
And I know you're trying to get into the video space, but having started this with the video and having the first one in 4K, I was like, this is a nightmare.
Part of my delay, if you will, with the video stuff, because I can churn out videos quite fast. As far as if I'm shooting an interview or something like that, I don't know. I just get in the zone and I'll have it done. I don't know, 8 hours or something like that. But I just fall into it and get it done.
I'd say that's probably my. Yeah, I mean, I bounce around. I'll have something. I'll edit for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then I'll like get back to work on something else, and then I'll edit some more. So I'd say accumulative hours. I'm probably 6 to 8,
and it's good, and I'm comfortable with that. But I can't do that every Wednesday.
Yeah.
It would just be impossible. So that's part of my other delay too. Is like, yes, we want to do video of the podcast. Do I do it live so I don't have to edit it?
Right.
With being live comes its own set of problems.
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just something we're really going to have to think about. Maybe we have a guy on the show, Young Ben. Maybe we get him involved
as like a producer.
Yeah, just to so I can focus on the podcast and the content within the podcast versus me playing producer and hitting a bunch of buttons
and trying to keep it going
to make it easier to edit.
Right.
That's something I want to address. I want to figure out. I just haven't come up with a solution yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you're responsible as well to like keep the conversation going. And,
right.
And you're thinking about producing at the same time.
And there's no way I'd be able to post something the following day as far as video wise. It would have to be delayed, which, I guess if you have people who prefer the audio version versus the video version, then it doesn't really matter. Right. It comes out a couple of days later for the video people, but they're still getting what they want or prefer. Yeah. But it's just one of those like, all right, I got to think about how to logistically figure that out. Yeah,
and I think that's what I'm already running into with if I record it on a Saturday and I'm trying to get it up on a Monday, I only have that Saturday night. And like I said, if I'm traveling or something, Saturday night's a night you're out doing stuff,
right?
And then that leaves only Sunday for me to not only edit, but in order to upload an hour and a half to YouTube, to bounce down out of Final Cut, and then there's hours involved.
For events and whatnot on the weekends. It's not like you're going home at 10 o'clock.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, you don't have enough time. So I'm sure mine. Once I'm deep into it, I'll fall into my own groove, I guess, and figure out like if there is going to be a set day per week, if not every other week that it comes out, I'll figure that out.
It's going to, the things just kind of naturally fall into place. And that's the same thing.
That's kind of what happened with yours, being
with
the Thursday.
Right. It just naturally came together and fell into the groove that we have and kind of continues to grow and morph into what it is.
Oh, I mean, speaking of growth, I mean, just the new spot you're in,
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
That was something that, obviously I wanted my wife included. So like, hey, I'm thinking here's the opportunity. What do you think? And she agreed, and we believe in revival. A lot of other people do. And we have a great support system and great cast, if you will, between myself, Chuck, Cory, and then John Stairs now kind of with the design stuff and the magazine stuff.
Awesome.
He's taken the lead position on the designing of the magazine. So I can really focus on, here's the content, here's the words, here's the pictures, let's put it together.
Right. Yep.
So
and that's his line of work anyway.
Exactly. That's where he's and truthfully, shouts to John Stairs. He's created a bunch of logos and designs and stuff over the years, but he shines when it comes to the book layout, if you will.
Cool. Yeah.
Because some of the stuff he came up with this past, or issue number 5, which is coming out, I was just like, this is completely out of my wheelhouse to come up with that layout or particular design for this spread, and he absolutely nails it. So
that's awesome.
I'm excited for these ones on.
Yep.
Not that I wasn't before, but
right. Yeah, but that's awesome because that's something that I've always had to come to terms with. Or I've always enjoyed doing things myself. I guess basically even on if you want something done right, do it yourself mentality, even though there's so many other people out there that are better at everything else than you.
More than capable, right?
Exactly. And then once you start to implement those people and their skills, you realize, oh, this is how things like this work.
Yes, this is how big companies get big. This is how things get done.
Exactly. In the right way.
It's truly impossible for one person to do
everything,
all the stuff,
and to do it right.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's where even with like music, you get like one person that can, I'm the same way being a musician. I think one way I'll have like I'll get into like the gutter, maybe not the gutter, but I'll get into a rut of like a writing style.
Yep.
And then it's almost like writer's block in itself. I'm like, I don't know how to get out of this. But then you implement like 3 or 4 other musicians that have different takes or different ears, and then everything kind of like becomes its own thing that you didn't even expect it to be.
The different perspectives and different personalities make things great.
And you get artistic indifference, I'm sure, in certain things.
Sure, absolutely.
But like with a magazine, it's awesome that you brought John on because
it's truly like you said, you use the term rut. Like I would get stuck in a design rut,
right?
And just like, well, I want to try this and try that, but for some, I don't know how. I don't have that, design background entirely.
Same. I'm the same
just kind
way.
of wing it. And I'll get stuck on some stuff. And then to have somebody else there now is just like, here's what I'm trying to do. He puts his perspective or, dare I say flair on it, if you will.
Yeah.
And generally it's one of those things where it's like, holy shit. That's how I pictured it in my head. That's exactly what I pictured.
Yep.
he could, put it there on the screen or on the paper when I could not.
Right.
And that's really,
it's such a good feeling too.
Yeah. It's just like,
yeah.
All right, you nailed it. That's exactly what I was trying to do, but I could not make my, fingers or brain work in that manner.
I'm the same way because I'm very visual and I like labeling and everything I like about design, I can see it in my head and then I'll sit in front of my computer and stare at it for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know
how do I make this happen.
I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I got it. How do I do it?
It's it's so frustrating too because you can see it in your mind's eye, and then like you're looking at a computer screen, you're like, how do I even?
Yep.
So I through the process of like any design I've ever done with any venture or whatever I've ever done, I appreciate people who are in graphic design who can, transfer that or bring it to fruition in a way.
Yep.
I appreciate that way more now because I've tried to do it on my own and I realized
I was going to say a handful of times, Mike, all right, I'm going to design this, go to do it, get it up there. That is not what it looks like in my head.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
That is not where I wanted to go with this. And then throw it out, exit. And
and then how many, you 2 hours on that,
right,
Right. And to me, especially being self-employed, it's like the hours in the day can't be long enough. And so when I sit there and just stare at a computer screen and then I bin the whole thing I just been working on, I get so frustrated. And then I feel like I spend more hours just dwelling on the failure of the loss of hours at the beginning of the day. And at the end of the day, it's like, what did I even accomplish?
One big thing, especially with the magazine design and layout stuff, I've learned to just walk away.
Yeah, you
and
need
forget it. Like, you know what?
You come back
another day.
Come back
worry
to
about
it.
it then.
Yeah.
And now it's weird. Like, previously I'd be like, screw it. I'm staying up till 2 a.m. to get this done. But it's more beneficial for me not to do that.
Yep.
Go to bed.
Get rest.
Get rest, go to work, and then come back the next night.
Refreshed.
Somewhat refreshed, ready to go. Or maybe my perspective changed and I go at it a different approach and, reach the goal that I was trying to reach. Whatever.
And the thing is like you learn that through experience.
Right.
I used to do the same thing. I'd like, even when I was riding BMX, if I was working on a trick or something and it was something that was, and I know you rode, so you can understand this too, that like, I'd be working on this trick and it wasn't a mental barrier issue. It was literally the physical like execution of this trick. Like my feet need to go here or whatever. And I would just grind myself into the ground late too. You know, be at a skate park and you just stay until after midnight and you're not only physically tired, but you're mentally tired of like trying to figure something out. And then you finally, you're stubborn. We both are. We both are like this and you want to stick it out. And then, but over time you realize like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. I'm going to rest. And you come back the next day and you do it like first or second try. And you're like, why didn't I do this before?
And I was just going to say, there's countless BMX or skate videos that I've watched. Somebody trying to lay something down. They fail, break themselves.
Yep.
And then you see the clip and they come back and they're wearing a different set of clothes.
Yep.
Because it's that exact thing occurred.
Yep.
But it's just, sometimes it's better to walk away.
I'm the same way. Back. Yeah. So I completely understand that. And that crosses over into anything else I do too. Yeah. Like sitting in design work.
I was just going to say very similar to design stuff or even photo stuff, the way I'm editing something, whatever. It just kind of all, I don't know, maybe it's just that. Obviously, I have that mindset of just here's how I do it and go from there.
Yeah.
Just if I need to, again, the magazine stuff in the past couple of years, it's taught me just walk away. Just come back in a day or two.
And that's what separates. That is what can separate like amateurs from professionals because they know themselves well enough to know when they're working at their best.
Yeah. And
they're not just like, because some people might think like, well, the harder you grind, the more work you put into it, the more reward you're going to receive. But it's like you got to know, when you're your sharpest too, So
right, yeah.
Learning when to call it not necessarily quits, but to return with some rest, with some
get
food.
Some rest, right?
Remember
exactly.
to eat. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's getting older.
I think I think with the experience,
right, regardless of age, but that experience of it.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Age, getting older with experience.
Yeah.
I guess because I guess you could start something. You could have started this venture at 45 or something, and you'd still have to wait,
figure it out,
to figure it all out
through those same steps.
Exactly, and that's what I'm doing with this too.
Yeah.
I remember when you told me, and I can't remember how the conversation came about, but when you told me that you were starting a podcast, and I was like, man, it's something I've thought about doing too. And then to watch yours, I didn't know how adamant you were going to be or how hard you were going to push it, through your first few episodes.
Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of people go gung-ho with the first few episodes, and then it just kind of fizzles out. Maybe because work and life and other variables kind of take over, and it's just hard to stay on top of it. And when it's not paying your bills, it's like, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. But to see the way, you brought Chuck on, you brought Cory on, and then they weren't just guests anymore. And then, then it was the three of you guys. And now you were able to do a weekly podcast with just the three of them all the time. You could always keep, new stuff coming. You didn't have to wait for an outside guest, to be available to come in every week and stuff. And so that grind, that work has already, what are you, not even 2 years in yet, right?
Yeah.
You are 2.
Fact, no, not yet. We're approaching, I think, June of this year will
that
be
sounds
2
right.
years.
Because we sat down, you and I sat down, you were already at episode 24 is my first one on.
Something like that, yeah, because
when you shot the Lotta for for issue 2, right?
Yep.
Second issue.
It was second issue, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so, right?
It was.
I think so.
It was because your first issue was the Martini emulation livery.
Yeah, and this was the Porsche Pig.
Yes, and then the Lotta was on.
So, June will be roughly 2 years. I think I started recording, like I had the first 4 episodes in the can, if you will.
Yep.
So I started recording those probably late April, May.
Yep.
And I didn't post those up or anything because I was just waiting.
Right.
I wanted to try to finish the magazine and get those episodes ready.
Yep.
As I was closer with the magazine first issue being done, I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's try to build a little bit of, I hate to use the word hype, but let's build something to kind of get this going so people know what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
What the hell this actually is. And go from there. So I had those 4 episodes in the can, and why I recorded those was because it came magazine first.
Right.
That was the idea of, I have all these photos I've been taking. I make prints of stuff. Every time I see a print, I get excited. Even though the print isn't necessarily mine, like it's my work,
right?
But I'm printing it and I'm going to give it to somebody else. So I was making all those prints, and just like, I don't want print to go away. That's my favorite thing. It's having something tangible in your hands. So that's where the magazine came from. On my drive home, well, actually, I mean, we can get into some of the GENGSTOUT stuff, but so
that's coming for sure.
One day, like on my way home from work, I was just within a 40-minute drive. The first 10 to 15 minutes of it, I'm bringing GENGSTOUT back. It was coming back.
Yeah.
The next 20 to 25 minutes, no, it's dead. But I want to do something else.
Yeah.
The next 30 to 35 minutes where I need a revival of something. How am I going to do a revival? What am I going to revive? I want to do this again. That in that time frame, that name came up, and I'm going to make a magazine. Well, if I'm going to make a magazine, I'm going to need to interview people. Well, if I'm going to need to interview people, I want to record it because I want to be engaged in the conversation. I don't want to have to take notes, and I just want to be talking to them.
Yep.
Well, if I'm going to be talking to them, I'm going to use an audio recorder.
Yep.
Well, if I'm going to use an audio recorder, I might as well make a podcast.
And at this time, at where we're at, podcasting's obviously even 2 years ago was getting really big.
It was already quite big.
So yeah,
really unknown to me, if you will, because let's say I've only been listening to podcasts for probably 3 years, 3.5 years or so.
Yeah, me
so
too.
Probably I had like a year's worth of listening to Last Podcast on the Left, which is one of my favorite ones. Obviously, Joe Rogan. Then some other ones that I'll kind of bop around and listen to every now and again. Like there's a cool history one, whatever, a bunch of stuff. So that was there. I didn't really know how big they were or how big they could be.
Right.
Obviously, Joe Rogan, even in that time frame, has grown tenfold.
Yeah. For
sure.
But
that was the thing, is like, well, if I'm going to be recording these interviews, I'm going to put it out there so people can listen to them.
Right.
So for one, they'll have a perspective of how I write the story, where I wrote the story, and they kind of work hand in hand. Like the story that's written in the magazine will be my, perspective about said person or vehicle.
Yep.
And then you have the audio that comes from that where they can just listen to it, which rawer, if you will. So that was
perfect combination.
that was the general idea of why the podcast, the Revival Motoring Podcast, existed.
Yeah.
So again, finish the magazine, get really close to that, have those 4 episodes in the can. All right, great. I'm going to release them. So I start thinking about issue number 2. All right. As I'm doing that, I'm like, well, these podcasts are out. And I had a couple little ones early on, just like a motoring updates or what I called them. Which was literally just me for like 10 minutes, or not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes. Here's the status of the magazine. Here's what I did. That was it. So whatever. I'm like, oh, I can't keep doing those by myself. I'm not Bill Burr. I'm not going to talk about, what I'm doing for 2 hours.
And being engaging too.
And right. And have it interesting.
Right.
So I knew I wanted to shoot Chuck's R32 for issue number 2.
Yep.
The night before shooting that, I talked to my wife because, again, she's my best friend and my wife, so I just bounce ideas off her. So I just said, hey, obviously if I want to make this work, to me, consistency and content is absolutely integral to having something work.
Yep.
There's no way I'm going to be consistent enough to record interviews, finish articles, and finish the magazine to have something every week. But I want to have a show every week. So I said, every time Chuck and I get together, I'll shoot his car for an hour and a half, but we're together for like 4 hours,
right?
5 hours, because that time frame is just us bullshitting and talking cars.
Exactly.
Anything and everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew, I'm like, all right, I want him to be my co-host. That day when I shot the car, his R32, talked to him. He was completely in. He's like, yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. He kind of was like, I'd love to do that. So had him on for the 5th episode. And we actually had like a theme already as far as, we didn't know how it was going to work, but it was just like, hey, let's talk about electric cars. Obviously that's that was the thing. So did that, had him on. And then I think we did 2 episodes, and then we had Cory on to talk about H2O. So again, the kind of the same thing. In my head, I wanted 3 people. I just feel like 3 people kind of work pretty good.
Yeah, good dynamic.
Just 3 different opinions that can keep the conversation going for the most part all the time. Cory came in. He blew me away. I kind of knew Cory beforehand, in my drunken stupor when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think I met him.
Right.
But I didn't really, I vaguely remembered it. But he obviously remembered me. But he came in, just to be a guest on the show that literally is 6 episodes in, but he was prepared. He had notes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit. And then we record the podcast, and I'm like, that was awesome. It just worked out so good. And later that night, I texted Chuck and just said, hey, 3 people, let's make Cory that 3rd one. He was like, yep, I'm in.
Awesome.
So that was episode 6 or 7. And here we are, 83 later.
Yeah, crazy.
And everybody's still even more invested than we were. We didn't know how it was going to work out.
It's almost like watching a show unfold, the character building.
Yeah, there was no thing like, oh, we're going to have this many episodes, we're going to do that. There was nothing to it. It was just, we didn't even think about it, we just did it.
Right, exactly.
And that's kind of what I enjoy the most about it, is everything's so natural.
Yep.
It just kind of falls into place, whether it be, sure, we pick topics, we pick news and all that sort of stuff, but the format developed itself.
Yep.
The content develops itself. The characters have developed themselves. You have Chuck's personality, which is absurd.
Yeah, Chuck is Chuck.
And extremely fast.
Yeah.
Again, I was talking to my wife because she texted me just yesterday saying, Chuck, he made a comment about, didn't eat more beef stew. We're not going to get into it because it's completely irrelevant, but if you listen to the podcast, you'll get it. So he made a comment, and she texted me, she's like, I literally was just dying laughing at this scenario, whatever. You have to know more to it. But, and I just responded with her, to her was just that there are 2 people in the world that I know that are as witty and fast. And one of them is my old roommate, Dennis.
Yeah.
And the other is Chuck.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know how it can be so fast.
Right.
But there's just stuff there on the ready, and it's typically very funny.
That's so funny.
But that's just him. It's
right.
not,
Exactly.
We're not like, oh, you need to be funny. It's just like, no, that's just him. And that's the best part is I'm me. Chuck is Chuck. Cory's Cory.
Right.
And that's all it's ever going to be.
Yep.
The stuff is going to naturally come out however it does.
And that honesty is what people are most interested in, I think.
I hope so, yeah.
Because that's kind of, I mean, and I chalk me even starting this up to, I say random people, friends too, but random people on Instagram that would always message me and say, you know, you should start a podcast or you should start a YouTube channel. Like, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
And for a while, I'd say for probably years, I received that. And I was like, oh, it's flattering, you know, thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't have the time, or there's really no point. And then the more that kind of, you know, becomes it just kind of motivates you.
It shows you that there's value to do it.
Yeah. Well, and that people appreciate, maybe not transparency, but like they appreciate you being you and
right.
And yeah, the dynamic between you, Cory, and Chuck, when you guys just like hang out and talk about stuff, is its own thing that 3 other people won't be able to
create. Right. Again, it's just individual personalities.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
And we've gotten compliments on, you know, the chemistry between us, and it's just like, it's great. And one of my biggest things is like, matter of fact, my friend Paul McGrath and I have had multiple conversations, well, very early on, because he started listening to the show and he's like, dude, this is awesome. You guys have such great chemistry.
Yep.
And early on, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 episodes in or something, I was just like, yeah, I hope we can keep it going. And he was just like, he knocked me down a peg, like, you're you. What are you going to change?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Sure, people change, but like, just you guys, that's what makes it entertaining. So as long as you be yourself, you're pretty good.
And that allows you to take a step back and almost like be more comfortable.
Yeah.
You're like, absolutely. All I got to do is show up and we're just going to be ourselves.
And we do have long episodes and we do some research, and I certainly take the time to prepare myself for interviews and stuff like that. But at the same time, if, again, we're doing this every week. So if we don't have an interview or we don't have a themed episode, I'm confident that, all right, let's grab some news. Let's talk about what we did in the past week.
And just kind of shoot from the hip.
Hope that'll, fingers crossed, work pretty good.
Exactly.
And there are certainly some episodes where I come away like, man, all right, we got to prepare better for next time. Or think of something better. You know, I'll feel like, all right, I think that was a good one, but I don't know. And then the next day, like, get comments or messages like, dude, that was one of your best shows. That was hilarious. And I'm just, so to me, I don't know. You know what I mean? Well, it's like, I can feel a certain way, throw it out the window, because I can't speak for how other people are going to feel.
And that was the hardest thing for me to get over. I mean, this is only episode 3 and I still have no idea what I'm doing. Like literally, like I feel comfortable talking to my friends, and I'm comfortable with a microphone or a camera around. So I'm just winging it. But episode one, we had some issues with the camera and the audio recorder. And so Cory and I sat down and recorded an hour and like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And it's my own fault. It was like some technical stuff that I overlooked. And we literally started from scratch. I reset everything and we sat back down and regurgitated like the first hour. So then it's feeling
unnatural.
You're feeling like automated, and you're like, wait, okay. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a natural. It was a natural second session. We jokingly said I was transparent about it on episode 1. I'm like, well, this is. I think Cory said, he's like, yeah, this is episode 1.2. You know, like, and we just kind of played on that. And we had the same Q&As that we went over. Yeah. But the answers evolved too. Not that there were different answers, but we expanded on them differently and stuff.
It's going to be impossible to replicate what you did the first time.
Exactly. And that stressed me out at first. And I'm like, oh, we really got to do this again?
Yeah.
And I almost wanted to like skip a week and just revisit it again with all new material. But then episode 2, like the power went out numerous times, you know, at the end of the episode. Luckily, everything audio-wise stayed going, but it just, all the variables changed. And so here I am stressing like episode 1 didn't go the way I wanted it to. Episode 2 didn't go the way I wanted it to. And like you just said, with the response you were getting, I was getting messages all over the place on Instagram. People being like, dude, I love the podcast. I can't wait to hear more. And I'm like, oh, this is like they're not holding this to some super high standard. Yeah. They're just like, they got us in the car, you know, at their workspace, in their workshop, and they're just listening to us talk. And I do the same with podcasts too. You know, two people just naturally having conversation. I find myself nodding my head like, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
We get the
same.
We get the meme all the time. You know, it's like a, I don't know, 1980s picture of 3 or 4 kids or whatever, and they're all around a circle. And then one of them's like way out in the distance. And that one way out in the distance, just there's a cloud above their head saying, so this is what it feels like to listen to a podcast. Because the other, you know,
Yes,
3 or 4 people are talking to each other, and that other person's way out in the distance.
Yep.
But I think that's a good thing. That's to me, when I'm answering or responding in my mind to a topic at hand from a podcast, it's a good show.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you're engaged.
Yeah, your mind's going.
Listening,
yep.
And you feel. I think that's a great compliment that we often get is, you know, people feel like they're part of the conversation.
Exactly.
And that's what we really want is to come across that way. We don't want to exclude anybody. You know, maybe some Subarus out there, but but beyond that, we don't want to exclude anybody. It's just we want to be ourselves, have that conversation naturally, and invite anybody and everybody to engage with us, send us messages, ask us questions, come to our events or shows, see us at shows, do all that sort of stuff.
Right.
We just want to be part of the community.
Yep.
Because, you know, we have, my thing now is the East Coast, we're kind of at a, you know, I don't want to say disadvantage, but we have 4 to 5 months of horrific weather every year. So I want to show that it doesn't matter. We can still do cool stuff during the winter.
Exactly.
We can still do car stuff during the winter. It may not be taking your car out to a show, but hey, if everybody gets together, I think we're going to try to put a go-kart thing together. If everybody goes out and does that, I want to play movies here. Play the whole, as terrible as they are, Fast and Furious catalog here.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Just different things like that.
But you and I both understand that it's not just about the cars.
Exactly.
You know, it's about the community based around it.
Way beyond the cars.
Right, exactly. So you can look beyond the seasons that are outside your door.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't matter. Like, again, you and I are here. It's winter. Okay.
Right.
But we're still here because of the cars. At one point, I always use the term, the cars are the conduit that gets the people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you go from there.
Yep. As with any other community that's got a strong group of people based around it. I mean, you say it's winter now. I told you it was -10 Fahrenheit when I left my house at 5 a.m. this morning to drive 3 hours down here. Yeah, it is cold. And it was 15 when I got here, which is still frigid upon frigid, and it is 25 degrees warmer down here than it was when I left my house.
It's not very fun.
No, it's not. My bones hurt.
I'm not a snowboarder, so I can't take advantage of the winter. I genuinely dislike it.
Yeah. Same.
However, obviously I've been here all my life, so I'm used to it. But now it's just, you know, all right, do cool shit to get through it.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, the cabin fever gets real.
Yeah.
And expanding on like involving people in the podcast. I mean, this is, like I said, this is only episode 3 for me. So this will, I'm sure, find its own rhythm of sorts, but I'm more interested in involving more people, even when I have guests on, as far as Q&As as well. I know you guys do as well too, but like involving people to the point where they're helping bring the content too.
Yeah.
Like which we'll get into, because like I said before we started, I keep thinking like, man, it'd be awesome to like integrate the Q&As throughout the entire podcast, because there's a lot of stuff that we're ultimately going to like talk a second time about.
Right.
Yeah. Cause like even Greg, our buddy Greg, the Swoops, even asked like, how did revival come about in one of the questions? And we're already in the process of talking about that.
Yeah.
So that's another good, a conduit, I guess, of sorts to like have other people bring that content almost, or the content subject. And then you fill all the gaps.
And they can, and they're a piece of it, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and whoever's listening, whether or not they were the ones who actually asked the question, they might be somebody who would have asked a similar question. And they're like, you know what, that's, And it motivates people to want to ask more questions or listen more. And so that's pretty cool. And I've had a lot of people message me saying that they went to Revival, and I'm sure this is with every other guest too, but I'd promoted that I was going to be on, you know, the first episode I was on with you, and then people went and listened to that episode and are now Revival listeners
TDs.
every week. Yeah, Dylan.
Shouts to TDs.
So that's he asked, I don't know, he asked probably 3 or 4 questions.
Sounds about right.
For this
par for the course for him.
We might, depending on how many I get into, we'll ask at least a few from him. But yeah, his first episode 1 for me, he brought in a few questions, and the first one was a statement. It said, he said something along the lines of, a new place I can send questions to. I like it. So he's gonna have to like divvy up his questions between you, me, and whoever else he's listening to.
And that's that's one of the, when doing all this stuff or coming up with all this stuff and then finally doing it, one of the things I didn't account for was how much I was going to enjoy meeting friends. TD's Dylan, he's a friend of ours now.
Right. Yep.
And that's just because of this crap that we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a part of the show, essentially. If you listen, he sends questions in all the time.
Yeah, he's a part of like every episode.
So it's just there. And then we've obviously met him in person. I think he's, hopefully going to run into him again soon. But it's just an added benefit to meet people like that from all over the place.
Right. Someone that you may have otherwise not even
never
run
had
into.
a chance to.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I knew Dylan. I might have met him. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. One of the Euro Trippers I was down in Florida for. Yep. And I may be speaking out of turn, but I think he might have started listening to you through me posting about it.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. No, he said that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I forgot.
I didn't want to take the liberty to like shoot that one out, but I thought I remember hearing that.
I can't remember if it was because of you being on or something that you mentioned before.
Might have been just mentioning it.
Yeah, you made the connection there, and he,
which is awesome. I mean, and through other guests that you have on, obviously bring that audience.
Yeah. It's just, I think the more the better is.
Oh, absolutely.
It just, doesn't really matter. Just
and that's the way I saw it. Starting this whole thing, I was like, even before I started buying all the gear and getting actually set up, for years it was like, oh, I'll start a podcast. I like talking to my friends, and it'd be just a cool platform to kind of be on, because this is talking to my friends.
Yeah.
But I never pulled the trigger on it because I'm like, who wants to listen to me talk? But
we still ask ourselves that question.
Exactly.
Chuck says it all the time. Like, wait, people listen to
now that you're in that space though, and you're getting the reciprocity or whatever from people, that's when you start to realize like, oh, people actually, they might share the same opinions about cars or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. Cause to me, I just felt like it'd be too boring because
I
never really listened to podcasts. I'd rather listen to music or something. But then once you step away from that and you realize that there's people out there that like really just enjoy listening to people talk about cars or talk about music or talk about art.
I think it all comes down to people being able to relate.
Exactly.
Because sometimes, you can feel like you're just one person in this gigantic world.
Yep.
You may have your opinions and think, nobody else is going to think that, or look at something with a particular perspective. But this allows people to relate to others.
Yep.
Whether it's myself, Chuck, Cory, yourself, Cory, it just, that's what it does. We kind of open ourselves up to, hey, we're going to tell you our perspective, agree, disagree, or, join in the conversation.
Yep. Exactly.
Just, allows people to connect, if you will.
Yep. Well, I mean, and speaking of TDs, we could probably actually start integrating a few of the questions because we're already talking about Revival and how you started it. So I'll look at some of that.
Okay.
Beginning of the week too, by the way, I meant to mention this earlier, even off air. TDs is a part of this too. The whole Sweepgate thing at the beginning of the week. I don't even know if people are calling it that. That's what I've been calling it. So obviously I saw him post, I saw a few other people post like the brooms standing up.
Yeah.
And I remember like doing that, I don't know, years ago. I feel like this comes in like weird cycles. It's this and like a few other like weird, like, I don't want to say science things, but like these like weird things, like, I might be calling this out. Not really, but like a soda can and it gets that certain amount left in it. You can tip it on its side.
Oh,
it just stands there. It's something like that,
Yeah.
and people forget that that's a thing. And
Right.
Same with the brooms. So obviously Dylan's post, like 500 some
he
odd
was
people
the one who
shared.
started it for me that day.
I saw you post a story about it. That's why I was going to bring it up.
I thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, first of all, no way NASA put anything out about that.
No. And everybody's tagging NASA. It's so funny.
And to the point they had to put out a statement. NASA did, saying like, hey, look, it's going to happen. It's not just because of gravitational pull on this particular day. Like,
I made that comment on Dylan's post too, because I was like, I said something jokingly about like, he followed up a second post by saying like, let's go to Dubai or something. Like my Facebook like it's being shared like who's going to Dubai with me or something. And I was like, and all these people, most people think that this is like some sort of, gravitational pull.
Right. Oh yeah. People, I mean, it's unfortunately the times we live in, and something correct or incorrect can get traction,
be misconstrued,
and I mean, be out
so
there.
funny. I mean, I posted a photo of me standing next to. I was wearing this exact shirt actually. I was wearing a red and black flannel, and I have a red handled broom. And I posted like a photo of me standing next to it with the broom standing up, and just put like science as like the description, just to play along. But obviously,
I'm like, I want to stand up a broom. That's how I felt. I'm like, hey, try this. I never tried it before, and I did it. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
It was just funny how like that and it was 24 hours and it was done.
Yeah.
It's like over now.
Yeah.
And
it's nowhere. And matter of fact, I tried to do it just yesterday because I'm like, no, I'm going to do this today too, just to prove it.
Yep.
NASA was right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were right. Well, Cory actually asked a few questions, but the first thing he said was, for Josh, thanks for letting me be a part of the revival motoring madness. So
Cory.
You're Cory.
Cory.
Yep.
Yep. No, man. I don't know. It just happened.
Yeah, like you said.
And I'm absolutely smitten, if you will, at the fact that Chuck and Cory are, partners. If you want to call them that. They're partners of mine. It just, again, naturally it fell into that place, and it couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, absolutely. He asked a few other questions that I can bring up a little later, but Chuck also said, why does he make us call him Podcast Daddy? He also makes Cory sleep in the studio.
That's hilarious. So at some point, I can't remember how, again, obviously Chuck came up with the term Podcast Daddy.
Yeah.
I think we were at a show, and somebody asked Chuck about something in relation to the podcast, if they could do something or say something, whatever.
Yeah.
And Chuck's response was just, "Oh, you got to ask Podcast Daddy." Yeah. He makes us, like take our shirts off and record. I don't know.
And
something
there
like
it started.
That. And then that's when it started, and it's stuck, and it's hilarious.
So funny. Yeah. And through Cory, that was the only thing that Chuck brought in, but Cory actually asked a few other like legitimate questions. But to get into GENGSTOUT, and I mean that's obviously how I met you.
I was going to say this is good because both Chuck and Cory have mentioned that we should do a GENGSTOUT episode or revival, like we should do a Josh episode.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't want to. I don't want to talk about myself.
Yeah.
In this form, great, I'll answer questions, but on my own podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't want to be like, it's about me. I just didn't want to do that. So this way, it actually,
and that's kind of why
answer some of the questions, but it comes up naturally.
Yeah. And I mean, and to be honest, other than you just being a friend of mine, I mean, that's half the reason why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Was so people could hear more about GENGSTOUT.
Yeah.
Because that was, I mean, obviously said that's how you and I basically met. But
yeah.
And I mean, and actually on that subject, when did we first meet? I know H2O 2010, you and John and Phil Rebello and a bunch of other guys like passed me on like Route 13 leaving Maryland. I was in my Volkswagen, and you were in the TT.
Yep.
I think John was in his Mark IV. And I remember, and Phil shot a couple of rollers of the Fox. But I don't remember if I met you.
Actually, no. I think that happened. I don't think I was there for that particular. I can't remember, but I do remember Phil shooting those pictures.
Yep.
But I think I met you after that. I want to say it was staggered
or broke down.
Might have. I can't.
Might have been staggered back when Mike was holding it in stores.
I feel like the pictures or something like that came out because we might have posted them somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that was like what led you and I to chat for a minute.
Right.
And that was it. And I feel like that was that staggered, but I can't remember.
It could have been, yeah. Because when I look back to New Year's Eve 2010 to 2011,
yep.
Because I was at your house for that.
Yeah.
When you, Jay, and was John living there too?
I think so at the time. Yeah.
Well, at one point he was, right?
Yeah. He did.
So, and that was like the GENGSTOUT house, basically.
That was it, yeah.
So before that, I don't even remember. Like, because I feel like even by that night, we were already friends, so I can't remember.
There was a couple instances where obviously we met, hung out at shows, and then you came down for a couple other shows. And then I think GENGSTOUT might have been doing stuff, whether it be events or something. And you crashed at our house for the weekend or whatever. Yep. There was a few times along
because
that happened.
Before that New Year's Eve, so I was dating a girl that worked in Boston. She was from New York, but she was working at Boston General. Like she worked in the biotech industry, so she worked in hospitals and stuff. And she was in Boston. I came down to see her or something, and then she had like work to do the rest of the day, and I took the T down to the Braintree station. Yeah. And you picked me up in the TT when you got out of work. And then, that was a weekend.
It was something. There was something going on that
I can't remember.
There was a reason, whatever show or something. I don't know.
I do remember that was one of the first times we hung out.
Yeah.
So, at least away from a show. Yeah. Where we kind of saw each other. But to talk about GENGSTOUT, Mason Gavin, my buddy Mason, that's his Instagram handle too, Mason Gavin.
Shouts to Mason.
Mason puts on the Riverside show. Yeah. And I've mentioned already in the first 2 episodes, that's coming up fast. I'm going to be there with TGC, and that's March 14th in Chattanooga. But Mason said, and this is awesome coming from Tennessee. He's always been from the Chattanooga area. I think he grew up in Dalton, Georgia, which isn't too far away. But he said, GENGSTOUT had an influence on many young people, including myself. I'd love to know more about the history of GENGSTOUT. So as we were kind of already getting on that subject, Mason's from Tennessee, and GENGSTOUT was obviously a Southern Massachusetts-based thing. It's
crazy to think about that. Like again, because we were just living it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Just friends, and
that was it. And like GENGSTOUT was a website. That's first and foremost what it was, but then obviously it kind of morphed into other stuff. So it's crazy to see that, it reached that many people or people that far away.
Yep.
Again, like I said, to use the term, we were just living in it, being in it. So it came to be, let me think, it didn't have the name at first. However, there was a small group of us that got together every Wednesday or Thursday during the week just to grab some food and grab some drinks. And obviously all those people were just VW Audi people, or car people in general.
Yep.
So we would meet up. It would typically be myself, my friend Aaron Frazier, who is a crazy VW Audi technician, Phil, my friend Jay, and that was actually initially it. I believe it was
Pelletier?
Jay Pelletier, yeah. So that was kind of the core of it at first. And that was what we did, is every Wednesday or Thursday go out for some drinks, because we were all in our 20s.
Yep.
I think everybody was single at the time, so there was nothing really to do. It's like go to work, and then where are we drinking that night?
Yeah.
Or basically it. So we would all get together at this pub in Fall River, Massachusetts. So Aaron, let me think. At the time, I think I had my Mark IV. Aaron had a Mark IV. I can't remember what Jay had. And Phil had a Mark II. But we'd always go there to this pub, and Aaron came downstairs at once because it was in a basement.
Yep.
So came downstairs one time and said that like somebody was outside calling our cars Gangster. Like
awesome.
Just calling the cars Gangster.
I haven't heard this story, so I'm actually stoked.
This is where okay. Like what do I do with that? All right, just it's funny.
A bunch of Volkswagens are Gangster.
So Aaron kept saying, obviously a couple of beers flow, and he's just, so gangster. Like it was just a joke.
Right.
And it was probably a running joke for, I don't know, a month or two. At the time, I was like in a weird place personally. I was focused on work, but came out of a terrible relationship and just needed something to do,
right?
Like, take my mind off things. So somehow I think Phil like pointed me to a website called Fat Lace, or Illust,
right?
And that dude Mark Arsenal was running that. So I would frequent that, look at it, and like, oh, that's cool. It was kind of in the back of my mind, like I'd like to look at it, but dare I say that was setting the foundation.
Yep.
Because I guess a month or two or so after the Gangster thing, I just said, oh, I'm going to buy a website. That was it. I bought a website. I didn't even have the name at the moment, so I didn't actually buy, the domain at the moment. But I'm like, I'm going to buy a website. That's what I'm going to do. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Make a blog. That's kind of what I thought. Didn't have a camera. Didn't know how to shoot any photos. Nothing like that. That was in 2009, actually.
So you weren't a photographer even before that then?
No, I had no idea what I was doing about anything. So literally anything.
Right.
So to kind of even more history, I had my same job, actually. I've been there seemingly forever. So I had a good foundation of work. So that was literally like the only thing I knew in life was, all right, go to work.
Right.
That was good. And then I don't know what I'm going to do, where I'm going, anything.
Right.
So at one point, all right, I'm going to buy this website. I need a name. Well, what the hell am I going to name it? And something clicked where I'm like, I want to do the Gangster thing, which is kind of lame. But then I'm like, well, we drink a lot of beer.
Yep.
So maybe I can do a play on that. And at some point, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm just like, oh, gang, G-E-N-G, stout. And that's where it came from, GENGSTOUT.
Yep.
Truly just this, this mishmash of scenarios,
right,
jokes, and alcohol. So that's where GENGSTOUT was born.
There it is.
Had no idea what I was doing, what we were going to do with it. I bought the domain and started messing around with Just Host being the platform that hosted it.
Yep.
So I kind of tried to figure out, all right, what can I manipulate? What can I move around? How do I make this look? Almost, I guess this is just the way my brain works. Well, if I'm going to do that, I need this. So if I'm going to do this, I need to buy a camera.
Right.
So I bought my first camera, figured out that, and just started shooting photos, putting them up there. And then in that same time frame, Phil got into it. He was a big part of it, and he and I would just create articles, shoot cars, slowly meet people, things like that.
Right.
And then it turned into kind of, all right, now this is something we're doing. So I don't even think it was a year that we had it up there. And then I met John. Matter of fact, I think John Stairs, he reached out to me first. I think that's what it was, via email or something like that.
09 or so? Still?
Probably might have been 09.
Yep.
Actually, I think it was 2009 or so.
You guys were a crew by 2010 because that's when that's when I first started hanging out with you guys.
So I'm thinking roughly that when this came up, I think it was like over winter of 2009. So like dead of winter, right before spring, something like that is when I bought the website. All right, okay, let's do this.
Yep.
So, things got rolling. John reached out to me and he and I hit it off right off the bat. He, Troy, and a bunch of other people were doing like the Dark Star dub things in Westport.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was a tattoo shop too, right?
Yeah,
that's
still
right.
there, Dark Star Tattoo.
Yep.
So obviously we hit it off because I happen to like tattoos. They happen to like Volkswagens. And again, I don't want to stress this enough, or I feel like I'm stressing it too much. Everybody liked beer.
Yeah.
So it just kind of naturally, again, fell into place. Like John and I hit it off. Myself, John, and Phil were really focused on the website, shooting articles, shooting design stuff, coming up with different design stuff. Finally, we designed our first shirt, and then that was it. We just kind of rolled with it. However, it seemed to work itself out. Again, it was a blog, but it then kind of stemmed into a lot of good friendships and everybody kind of building decent cars. You know, I don't want to say crazy cars. There were some,
Right.
but like
Yeah.
it was just like, you know, everybody doing cool shit, hanging out.
Yep.
And it's always, and it's the same with Revival. We're going to be doing this anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
whether or not there's an audience watching.
Exactly. So let's do something with it, and who knows what happens.
Right.
So essentially it was just a website. And like I said, sold the stuff, shirts, stickers, air fresheners. At some point around 2010 or so, Dark Star had a show at their tattoo shop. We decided to kind of combine forces and make it just bigger.
Yeah.
That's where Dubs in the Sand came to be.
That's right. Yep.
We did that for 2 years.
I drove my Volkswagen down to one of those years.
Yeah, it was cool. It was perfect.
I remember I remember leaving my house. I don't remember how many people were with me. I don't know, like maybe only one person, because I brought that little miniature tank down with me. That was in the back of the wagon. But that car basically touched the ground on coilovers. And I remember leaving my driveway and just knowing that the show was in Massachusetts. Yeah. And I knew you, obviously, at this point. And we just hit the road. And, you know, we had iPhones in 2010, but I hadn't even looked at the GPS. It wasn't until I got into Mass or near the state border where I actually typed the address in and realized how far down it actually was. It was like an extra hour and a half drive than I thought it was.
The show is technically in Westport, Mass at Horseneck Beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just remember that, that first trip down there, I was like, good Lord, it's another 2 hours than I thought it was. It was crazy, but it was an awesome spot.
It was cool. It's and that probably would have kept going had we been, I don't know if it would have kept, I don't know. But basically the Parks and Recreation crew, if you will, started to give us trouble on the second year because we had so many people show up.
Yeah, I rember you were saying it was venue issues.
You're going to need police detail. You're going to need this. Because the second year we had to have one park ranger there on premises and pay for said ranger. The next year, had there been a third year, they wanted 4 of them or 5 of them or something. Yeah. And then it just quickly got to the point
out of hand.
Holy shit, where's this money going to come from?
Right.
Because everybody threw in a little bit of money and make stuff happen, and hopefully we recoup from T-shirt sales, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so that was that.
Yeah.
And at the time, even with GENGSTOUT, we did it, kept going. I was immature. If you know, I was 20.
We all were.
23, 24, 25. Yep. Again, still not having a clue what I want out of life, what I'm doing.
Yep.
All this sort of. So, you know, GENGSTOUT was just a good reason to hang out with friends and drink beer and somehow make cool shit.
Yep.
Which that's great, but I didn't have any savviness in business. I didn't, you know, have any vision for the future of it, if you will.
Yep.
And that was fine. It just was a thing. And that kept going for a few years. 2012-ish, I met my wife. Everybody was getting a little bit older. And we just all kind of did our own thing. Now, it didn't end badly or anything like that. Matter of fact, Curtis Johnson, he and John were still kind of working on some stuff and doing it. But I didn't have the drive that I once did to keep the GENGSTOUT website going.
Right.
I wanted to really focus on my career at work, start to build a family. Again, you know, met my wife in 2012. So that was where I put my focus. Now, with that said, I always knew I was going to do something eventually.
Right.
But I forgot when, but sometime, let's see, if this was, we're 20. So sometime in 2016 or so, 15, I took the website down.
Yeah, I remember you made a post about it.
Yeah, and just because if
being laid to rest.
Yeah, it's just look, I don't want to have this thing out there and have it be shit.
Right.
That was realistically it. If nobody's doing anything
or laying dormant,
we're not posting. Again, how I said earlier, you have to be consistent. We're not consistently posting stuff. No, that thing's coming down. I still own the domain name.
Yep.
I still own the rights to it and stuff like that. So I just took it down because I didn't want it to be there and just kind of, you know, going in the wind, if you will.
Just laying there. Yeah.
Took it down. And again, I knew I was going to do something again eventually.
Right.
Didn't know when, didn't know what, but at some point,
the spark was still there.
The way, because I absolutely still love cars.
Yep.
It was still all about, I had my S4. I did buy a grandpa mobile for a little while, being a TDI Passat.
Yep.
Which was wonderful. And then Volkswagen bought it back, which was even more wonderful. So then I bought a Mark 7, had that for literally like a month. And then I got a promotion at work where it thankfully came with a full-time vehicle. So right, I didn't need the GTI as much as I wanted to keep it and have fun with it. I just didn't need it.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I was car-wise. I was still shooting a bunch of photos. Obviously I wasn't going to shows or in the scene, if you will, because there was a lot of people I hadn't seen for a while.
You came up with Curtis in 2012, the weekend my dad and I finished my 1960 Mercedes. You and Curtis came up to shoot that. And that was kind of, when GENGSTOUT was kind of not doing much.
Towards the end, yeah.
Because
that was it.
dare I say that might have been the last like GENGSTOUT shoot.
I couldn't even tell. That
might have
July
been July of 2012.
That might have been because it just fell off. If you will.
I remember I feel like Curtis might have even been the biggest motivator. No, you wanted to come up because you shot my dad's 64 442 in the fire station that same weekend.
And Curtis and John kept things moving for a while.
That's right.
He did a great shoot of Curtis did a great shoot of everybody together. It was like his CC, John CC.
That's right. I remember seeing that.
There's a couple of New Hampshire guys that had theirs, and it was just a cool shoot.
Right.
That was one of the last ones I think that went up there. It was like,
GENGSTOUT.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah.
But whatever, that just kind of, fell off, if you will. And everybody, again, there was no hard feelings everybody took separate paths. Just growing up.
Right. I mean, it's the same with anything, any other group of friends.
It just happens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing lasts forever.
It's a natural thing.
Yeah, it just whatever it is, nothing in that form is going to stay the same forever.
Yeah, it's not like it was a business that was like that your life depended on, and it ended abruptly, and now it's like you're lost.
Yeah,
it ran its course the way it was naturally.
That's the best way to put it. It ran its course.
Yeah, I understand that.
So took it down, and then, like I said, still. Was into the car scene, but behind the scenes, if you will.
Right.
Just watch things from afar.
Yep.
And then, like I said, on that drive home one day, I'm gonna bring things back.
Yep.
And in that time frame, decided no, I'm not. I'm gonna do something different.
Something different. Yep.
And that's where the Revival name came from, because I was gonna revive GENGSTOUT.
Yep.
And then finally. Nope, that's dead.
New canvas.
Here we are. That's exactly what it was. I want blank start.
Yep.
For no other reason than blank start. I want to just
exactly
figure something out.
And there's something to be said for it's the same, when you started GENGSTOUT and came up with the name and came up with all the branding and all that stuff, you were not a different person, but you were at a different point in your life. So,
certainly.
So when I look at it this way, it's like, 10 years has gone by and you've got a whole different outlook on
perspective.
Things. Yeah. So starting with that blank canvas is crucial.
You can say, I'm still me, but I am a different person.
Yeah.
And I suspect I'll be a different person, 10 years from now when I'm 46.
I hope I am, through growth and experience.
Stuff's going to happen, whatever.
Life just happens.
Just happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, because, the 36-year-old me now is here and now. The 26-year-old me was way different.
Exactly.
The 16-year-old me was way different.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen again. Not that, Revival's going anywhere, but
right. But it'll Revival's like you said, you used the word immature earlier. It's like Revival's a more mature, rendition of what you ultimately wanted to accomplish with GENGSTOUT.
100%.
And so that'll stand the test of time.
And it actually has a bit of a, I have a vision for it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I didn't with GENGSTOUT, what am I doing with GENGSTOUT? We don't know. We didn't really let's try to do this or that.
Well, and as if you could plan it out any better, the Revival shirt you were wearing, if anything else screamed GENGSTOUT,
that's exactly. And that's why,
and
we
go
back.
I know John designed.
I was going to say, we go back with our personalities and what makes things interesting. That this shirt is a, death metal themed Revival motoring shirt.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening to this.
John Stairs and I, again, things just happen naturally, right? Matter of fact, I think you'll know exactly what I'm talking about too, is a week or so or a couple days before designing this shirt, Dunkin' Donuts had like a contest.
Dude, I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up. I shared every single one of those on Instagram.
Absolutely amazing.
So good.
Dunkin' Donuts had a contest or something, or it caught on, or if it was just viral.
I don't even know if it was a contest. I think they were having a logo contest, and I think some death metal graphic designers literally just took it and ran with it. On. And so I don't even think Dunkin' Donuts was looking for death metal
but
like,
they just,
logos.
So that's and John Stairs and I seen that, and we're sharing it with each other.
Oh, it was amazing.
And we were just like, we need a logo that barely anybody can read.
Like
as bad as that sounds for a branding purpose, but
yeah, it's just so. Yeah, I shared every single one. I saw that like being shared around the internet, and I saved each individual photo in like an Instagram story.
It's so good.
It was so good. The one with like the rotting like coffee cup, and it said Dunkin' Donuts.
And it's just like the branches and the trees and just
in that death
the
metal
roots
font.
And the fact that for those logos they kept the colorway. It's just perfect
so
because it's such a reflection of.
It's such a dark like logo design with the bright Dunkin' Donuts colors.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, so that's exactly
where this inspired, and I'm just like, yes, we're making a death metal shirt.
Oh, it's perfect, and I'm happy. I can't wait to wear mine. Yeah, but that answers that. I mean, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about GENGSTOUT, but even just that expansion answers a lot of questions, like Swoops and a few other people had asked, what was the final push? Like Greg's actual question was, what was the final push that motivated you to start Revival? And it was like that lying in wait almost, like where you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah, something's going to happen or not even happen, but there'll be a time in my life when I'm going to be ready.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it was like, I think my daughter was a year old, right around.
Yep.
Something like that. I can't remember. Or she might not even, I don't even remember how that all played out. I'm sure if I look at a calendar, I'd figure it out. But
yeah.
It was just like, all right, now's the time.
Yeah.
Married, everybody's good. I'm comfortable at work, meaning I have a good career.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Things are in the right spot to do so. There's still a lot of things that my wife and I want to accomplish, but the best part and why she's my wife is that she agreed. She kind of knew, like, all right, the GENGSTOUT thing was there.
Yeah.
She never had any input as far as like in a negative way.
Right.
Like she never wanted me to take it down. She really just kind of questioned, like, you sure? And she was always supportive.
Yep.
So when I said to her what I wanted to do, she was just, yeah, let's do it. Let's make that happen.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of what it was. It was just the timing was right.
And that motivates you too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
to
absolutely.
have the person you love most in this world, like to be that supportive.
Yeah.
And it gives you the fuel to.
She's a core part of the foundation of Revival Motoring because again, she's a sounding board for all my absurd ideas. And she
voice of reason.
She sets me straight. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And she just, takes control of like certain parts of it. Like, as far as the shipping and all that sort of stuff, that's hers. She just, I was doing it and shipping some stuff out slowly.
Right.
And she is just like
on it.
No, you're too goddamn slow. You need to have better customer service.
Yeah.
Let me do all the orders. Let me plan all this stuff. Let me do this.
That's awesome.
And that's why, there's been a couple of people who've reposted like, holy shit, I just ordered a shirt and I have the tracking number an hour later.
Yeah.
Well, it's because she's seen it and ran with it.
That's awesome.
Some of the stuff is out of our control as far as when things get printed and whatnot. But realistically, that's her realm. She's running with it. And it's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a perfect teamwork between you and her. I mean, that's awesome that she's that into it. Probably what I'll do is I wrote down almost all the questions because I wasn't sure exactly how our conversation was going to go with GENGSTOUT. I figured we were going to talk about GENGSTOUT, though. As far as I'm concerned, we'll talk about H2O memories and
there's been a million, and I'm probably missing a lot, but to just kind of a summary, that's the whole of GENGSTOUT right there. And just, there's a million different, I could go into. That was the reason that GENGSTOUT was the reason that I shot for PVW.
Yep.
GENGSTOUT was the reason that I met all the broke status guys, all the get low guys.
Yep.
Like some of my best friends are met because of that website and that joke, that joke, essentially that name.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
Yep.
So there's that's what took me to London, from my friend Holden. It was because of that. Because of the cars, again, like we said, the conduit of that.
Yep.
That just leads us to whatever it may be.
That's kind of how the Governor's Club got started. I had a 69 Mercedes and some friends who named their cars, and I don't name any of my cars.
Yeah, neither do I.
They were like, do you name your cars? I'm like, or what's the car's name? I was like, I don't name my cars. And they were like, well, if you were to name this car, what would you name it? And it was, it was the first Mercedes I ever owned, a big S-Class 69 Mercedes. And I was like, I don't know, the Governor, like as a joke.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's perfect. And then so they just started calling that the Governor, and then they started calling me the Governor because I drove it.
Yep.
And then it turned into this like, oh no, like the four of those guys over there, they're the Governor's Club.
Yeah.
And then it just, and
naturally,
so over the years, I don't want to say hate. I don't like the name. So I've wanted to change it so many times.
Yep.
And at this point, being like 8 years in, people are like, you can't just change the name.
Just do that. Right.
So I'm like, so anyway, that started as like a joke as well.
That's how, again, they're just natural.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's a good thing because it's born out of an organic,
it's pure
soil. You know what I mean?
Born from, it's right. It's just pure. There's passion behind it or whatever. It's again, I hate to overuse the term, but natural.
Yep. Well, and talking about the UK too, since you brought that up, there's two. Maybe I'll start with Chris's. So Chris Saunders said we need a John and Josh trip to the UK for a tour of all the local tracks so we can all pile into my Mini.
Oh man!
So I mean, as you already know, I mean, I go over every year.
Yeah.
Usually for Players Classic.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I'm really trying to go over for Revival this year at the Goodwood Motor Circuit.
Yep.
But so we're gonna have to.
I'd love to get back out there again if things hopefully pan out with Revival. I don't know. I really want to get back out there, but obviously I have everything here.
You've got a family now,
got job, so it's like
it's easier for me to jump on a plane and just go.
Yeah, it just myself, Chuck, and Cory, we all do our best to try to plan things out.
Right.
And there's certainly things that we're going to miss out on, unfortunately, that we'd love to attend, but just can't make it work.
Yeah.
Logistics wise.
I mean, and I mean, you already know. Like, you let me know if you've got to. Oh yeah. You want to go to the UK? No, like I'm in.
Yeah. I think at some point I think I will because there's things I want to see over there. Nürburgring.
Yep.
All the VW stuff, the Porsche Museum. Like, there's just bucket list things.
And I mean, and as we talked about on one of your episodes, that's what we did in 2018. We did all those things.
Yeah,
we did Nürburgring.
Yeah. Right. It just
we went to Stuttgart, did Porsche and Mercedes, and
just the perfect, ideal German car enthusiast.
Yep.
Oh, and it's getaway.
It's like your pilgrimage almost.
Right.
Being into a Euro car. So that might have been the only UK. I got a bunch of friends from the UK that asked some questions, but and the questions, there were some that involved me specifically too. But I'm gonna just cover the ones that were either you or both of us. So my friend Matt Veely on Instagram, Veely, asked this involves both of us since you've been to the UK, and I know you drink coffee. I don't know how much of a coffee nerd you are. I'm not. We were both drinking Dunkin' Donuts when we both walked in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to not.
Same.
I'm trying to not drink anything other than made at home.
Yeah. So,
but it's proving difficult.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've got a Dunkin's cup in my hand. It seems like once a day. But Matt asked, and I used to jokingly say like that I hated the coffee in the United Kingdom because I could never find coffee that I really liked over there. But I'm drinking Dunkin's, so I really can't be that much of a snob. But he said, "What is the best coffee in the UK that you've had, and where in the world was the best coffee that you've had?" So, if I'm going to answer that, because I had time to think about this when I wrote it down.
Yeah,
the best coffee I've had in the United Kingdom is making it at friends' houses.
Yeah,
like just making it. Like they buy the coffee beans and you ground it. It's more or less their instant coffee basically.
Yeah.
Pour the hot water and
setup.
Stir it up. Yeah, I've actually really, really grown to like that. And the way it tastes too, because the water's different over there.
Yeah.
And so I just an instant coffee made at friends' houses has become
I think when I was over there, I only had 1 cup of coffee, and it was in like some sort of mall that we had like breakfast in or something.
Yep.
Because when I was over there, I can't drink a lot of beer, but was drinking tea because I like tea as well.
Okay,
so obviously, you know,
and that's where
when in Rome, dare I say,
exactly. Yeah, and I'm not much of a tea drinker, so that's what my joke always was to all my British friends over there. I'm like, oh, you guys drink tea? Where's all the good coffee? But I mean, yeah. So that was another joke that Matt knew that.
And the other thing is like I would like to be more of a nerd with coffee, but I'm not.
I would too, and I just can't.
I don't have the time to soak into that.
Me neither.
Like I got the Keurig. And now I'll do like whatever a normal flavor and a splash of light cream. And that's it nowadays.
I'm trying to get down to that level. I'm
trying to go like fully black.
Yeah, same. That's exactly where I'm trying to be.
It's got a bit too much of a bite. That's why even a splash of cream nowadays, I'm good.
Yeah.
But all black just got a bit too much of a bite. It depends on what the hell coffee it is too. So
exactly. Well, I'm trying to cut out all the cream and sugar so I can enjoy different coffees.
That's exactly right.
Because if you know, I've cut down on a lot of the cream and a lot of the sugar too. But yeah, it's just too bitter when it's black.
Yeah,
it really
exactly.
Is.
And I probably have drank black coffee, I don't know, 3 times in my life, like a full cup, and I'm just
a full cup. Yeah, I haven't done
that.
It
wasn't that bad. Matter of fact, I played golf once and it was cold as hell, and I'm just like, I need something to warm up, so I had black coffee.
Yep.
But yeah, if I have the choice, a little splash of cream.
What's your favorite weird car?
Favorite weird car?
We're changing subjects real fast.
Oh man,
so this was sent in by Rally Slow, and I can't even answer that because everything I like is weird. So
yeah,
that's all you.
Yeah, you're right. The obscure level of car with you. Weird, I don't know. I like weird shaped cars, like M Coupe, Dodge Viper, any shooting brake.
Yeah, shooting brakes for sure.
That's like I don't care what the car is.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think there's a Volvo we're looking at in the UK to shoot in the magazine.
Cool.
And like this has that same vibe to it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the car actually is. It's just get that phallic shape, if you will.
That's kind of what I liked about that Volkswagen I had. It's a 2-door wagon, but it had like a shooting brake kind of inspiration to it. Yeah,
that's my favorite. Those body lines.
Yep.
On literally anything.
Estate, everything.
Yeah, it just lean towards wagon, but could be shooting brake. It doesn't matter. If it has those lines, I'm in.
Yeah. My buddy John Hansen from Kansas, JH Creative, asked. Now, as you know, I shared a story. To ask these questions, and I shared that photo of you and I at New Year's Eve at your house or Jay's house,
which I have no idea what I was doing. I was just making like a
John was taking those photos, so John like just popped up with the camera, and you were just like just kind of posted up. But yeah, so John asks, looking at your 2010 photo, A, what was your MySpace profile song, and B, did you 2-step the pit? So
100% 2-step the pit. Oh man.
Mine's easy because it was my own music. Because I swear to this day, the MySpace music page was the best MySpace, or was the best music streaming page.
Yeah.
Most user friendly.
Oh yeah. It was very easy. Yeah.
So I had my own music page, and then I had my music playing on my personal profile to promote the music. So
it's so weird that I remember this.
Oh, it's amazing.
But there's an artist, I think he's still around, a dude called Nervous Nuvis.
Nervous Nuvis.
It's just like 50s rockabilly type stuff.
Yep.
And I don't even know how I discovered it. But that was my music for the longest time.
On your MySpace?
Yeah.
Perfect.
On MySpace. I couldn't tell you the name of the song.
But MySpace is how you found music back in like 05 to 09. 04 to 2004 is I might have started on MySpace in 03.
I wish I could find mine. I know
mine's still. I don't know the password to mine, but it's a public profile, so I can just go look at it.
I don't even know what I called mine. So like, yeah, I have to do some digging because it'd be hilarious to see it. I'd love to see it. For
everyone listening, I'll post a screenshot of my MySpace page on an Instagram story.
We should start that. Everybody should post there.
Yeah, here we're saying it right now, guys. screenshot your MySpace profile if you can get into it, or it's a public profile, and tag Josh and I.
Be hilarious. And then like to see,
we'll reshare them,
because you could do like, you know, your top 10 friends or whatever.
Yeah, it started as top 4, top 8, and then you could hack it and just like
it used to be,
you'd lose friends if they weren't in your top 8.
So it used to be such a joke, but competition. So my old roommate Dennis and I were involved with a bunch of other dudes before I really got into the car stuff again, in motorcycles, and we had a shop called the Butcher Shop.
Yep.
And there was always competition for like Dennis and my friend Nick and this dude Eddie. Like, whoa, Dennis is in my top 3. Well, I don't know where you are, but it was just so like hilarious, stupid, just competition. Yep. So to see that, it would be hilarious to see where a screenshot of it.
And mine was, I had the best excuse for anyone that gave me a hard time about not being in the top 8, because that was when I was riding BMX professionally. Yeah. So I had my sponsors as the top 8.
Oh, right. You had to. Yep. Right. Yeah.
I didn't have to, but that was like,
it just made sense.
I didn't have to fight with girls or guy friends of mine. You know, it's like I had like however many sponsors I had at the time, and then my music page, and I promoted the music page, and that was it. That's John. That should have been your question. Was what was your top? Who was in your top 8?
Who's your top 8?
I wouldn't. I mean, I'd remember because of it was who I was riding for at the time.
I'd have no idea. And that's why I think it'd be hilarious to see.
Yeah. So screenshot your MySpace profile and tag us in it. That'll be pretty cool to see. A trip down memory lane. Huh. So Cory.si asks, and I think I know why he asked this question. What's y'all's favorite color? I just figured he was making fun because we're always wearing black.
Oh, yeah. I was just, I think
black's mine.
That's what it's just natural to wear black. I think I have one gray shirt.
Yep. I mean, I'm wearing a red and black flannel at the moment.
And I have some other colors, but I don't like to.
It's all black.
Matter of fact, I have a red hoodie because we made them.
That's
fairly
right.
Recently, yep. But that's about it. That was like, that's the most of my. Yeah. As far as I stray from, black.
I mean, I like black and everything. I mean, I wear a plain white tee in the summer. It's either that or all black usually, but I'm color deficient. So that's like my excuse is like, well, I mean, black and white, just all black or black and white.
I just never, I don't know.
Cory also asks though, what's your favorite set of wheels that you've owned?
Oh,
I know where you're going.
Ooh, that's tough because like I regret getting rid of my RSs. Yep. But my favorite would probably be the Images.
Oh, that's right. Now,
or even there's so many.
You had Equips on the TT, right?
No, those are the Images.
Oh, those were the Images.
Yeah, those are the Images.
That's right.
On the Mark IV were the RSs.
Yep.
I had Tarmacs on the S4, and then I had a set of 1552 Snowflakes on the TT for a little while.
That's
as well.
right.
And that's another wheel I wish I kept.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I forgot those were Images on the TT.
Yep.
Yeah, those look so good.
Yeah, if I had those, the Images, the RSs, and the 1552 wheels, the Snowflakes, I shouldn't have let them go. I'd keep them. Even if I didn't have a car I could use them on.
Yeah. Well, and I guess to answer Cory's question, in case he was interested, mine probably were my BBS E76s I had on the Lada.
Yeah.
Because
those are
a magnesium. Yeah. BBS Motorsport wheel. I'd always wanted to own a set. I mean, generally just a magnesium 3-piece BBS Motorsport wheel, but the E76s were just such a beautiful wheel. And I again, like you said, I wish I'd kept that set of wheels. I got an offer for the car with those wheels that I couldn't refuse, so I sacrificed. And
I mean, that car in particular worked extremely well with those wheels.
Oddly enough,
worked so good.
Oddly enough, because that's not a motorsport car.
No, it wasn't at all. It just happened to,
It's a refrigerator with wheels. It's basically all it is. So yeah, I'd say the E76s. TD's asks a few questions. So his first one was, "Are you coming to Helen this year?" And I think that one was for both of us.
I think we're gonna try
Alpine Vag Fair.
Yeah. We'd like to go to that one. I know we missed out. Didn't they have something recently, or there was another one, right? Isn't Eurotripper
was a couple
put on
ago.
by the same?
Yeah, Paul Barney.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul puts on that.
So I know we definitely missed that. We would like to go out to Helen because we have to wear suits with TDs and go down the river. Apparently.
Oh, so did you ever do any solos?
No, I hadn't. No, because that was roughly around that time frame where I'm like just getting out of things.
That's right.
And
yeah,
it just.
So I did solo in 2012, 13, and 14. In 13, I drove the 190 down. 14 is when I drove the Corvair down alone. And the river floats are amazing. So it's like, it used to be like $2 or $3, and you got in a school bus and they drove all the way to the top of this mountain, and it was like a 2.5 hour float. And we used to do it with like 60 people.
Yeah.
We'd all tether our tubes together,
Yeah,
and it was just a complete disaster. It was just, but you'd laugh so hard your gut hurt by the time you get to the bottom. So yeah, you guys doing the river float in suits would be pretty hilarious. I tried the 700 down last year for the inaugural the Alpine Vag Fair. I don't think I'm going to make it this year. I got a photo of Dylan sitting in the 700. I got a photo of him sitting in the 700, but I don't remember. He might have been wearing a Revival shirt.
Yeah.
In that photo,
I was going to say, because once he got that thing, he was wearing it everywhere.
Yep.
All the pictures I've seen of him, he was wearing it.
Yep. And he asks, what was the other question he asks? Oh, he said, if you two had to travel together, who would drive and where would you go?
Oh, man.
We should have talked about this one earlier. We'd have a better answer.
Driving, I think, would just be split, depending upon where we're going. That wouldn't matter.
I'll go anywhere.
I mean, granted, nowadays it's weird. Like, I wish I could. I get very nostalgic with my kids in particular. Like, when I was younger, I wish I could go back to that right now, meaning be in the car with nothing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
To just enjoy the ride, listen to music, or shoot photos or whatever.
Well, and that was another thing he asked to tie into your answer there. He said, if you had to do one thing over, what would it be?
Well, now it's just I miss that because generally I'm the one driving everywhere.
Right.
And we typically take my car, so it's just like I'm always driving. So I just would like to be the passenger for a trip at some point. It's just that's something I haven't done in a long time.
We'll have to line something up because I just bought that crew cab dually, so we could fit 4 comfortably. We'll have to figure out some trip. We'll do like a Revival TGC road trip.
Something.
That'd be pretty cool because Nikolai from Simply Clean and I have been talking about doing some pop-up Simply Clean TGC collaboration, like just pop-up meets, like traditional pop-up meets. Announce it a week before. Like, hey, we're going to be here.
That's it.
And we've got a few in the works at the moment, but doing a Revival TGC one would be pretty sweet.
That'd be cool.
And just, and road trip out somewhere.
Right.
Just for a weekend or something.
And, as far as where, I don't know.
Anywhere.
Like,
really, I think we're both kind of, we have the same wiring as far as like, I'll literally go anywhere.
Yeah. No matter what, you can find something interesting somewhere, especially it's going to be different.
And Europe's amazing too, because you can hit so many places.
Right.
Being from America, it's like
driving
across Europe. When I did it, I was like, I can't believe how close everything is.
Every other country is.
Yeah. Yep. And you literally are driving into different countries because everyone's speaking a different language.
Yep.
It's so crazy. Moving forward with some of the questions, Never Finishing Projects, who I think has asked you some questions, asked, have either of you ever been to a quick trip?
Quick trip? I don't think so.
Well, I have. And as far as I know, because this is where I've been to one, it's a chain of like Wawas, basically. It's like a gas station chain that has like food in it in the Midwest, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area. And I've been to a few on my travels through there.
I've unfortunately only flew over the Midwest. I've really never been.
Some would say fortunately.
But that's one of the, like, I'd love to visit some of these places just to see.
Yeah.
But I generally East Coast and then fly out to Vegas or California.
Right.
That's been about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have been to a quick trip. But to expand on that, I haven't. It didn't leave a lasting impression on me like Sheetz and Wawa have.
Right.
So as far as gas station food is concerned. Oh, and speaking of food, my good friend Robert from Luftechnik, the Porsche shop in Richmond, asked, and this is a total Robert question. So he asked a question on episode 1 or 2 of my podcast, and he asked, what's the quickest way to the end?
Yeah.
So he's got really like dry doom style questions. He asked, if either of you were a food, what would it be and why?
Oh my God.
I'd be a burrito.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
And why? Because they're really good and they're warm.
I'd pick pizza.
Perfect.
Can't lose with pizza.
Perfect.
Pizza makes everybody happy.
Exactly. That was easy enough. I was afraid that one was going to, be real.
Go down
difficult.
a road. Yeah.
Yeah. Go down a serious road. Yeah. I'd be a burrito and you'd be pizza, a pizza pie. That's perfect. LEP Automotive, who actually we're going to see at Riverside, or I'll see at Riverside. They're vending at Riverside in a few weeks. Asks, realistic British dream car. Like, so something that would be obtainable.
Ooh, realistic. I don't know. All mine are unrealistic.
Yeah, it's tough to. Yeah, once you get into like,
because even my favorite, currently anyway, is Jaguar Project 8. It's just unrealistic to think I'd ever have that. Yeah.
For me, so I test drove in 2016 when I was over there. I was at a friend's shop and there was a 1970 or 71 Triumph 2000 Estate on the lift, or the hoist, or whatever they call their lift. And we didn't get the Estate here in the States. Yep. We got the sedan, and I can't remember if they made a 2-door version as well, but we had a 4-door 2000 Triumph, and they're kind of rare. We don't see them ever, especially out here on the East Coast. They all rotted out. But we didn't receive the wagon, and there was a wagon there, and I was like geeking out over it. The thing looked amazing. British Racing Green, or a variant of a dark green.
Yep.
And my buddy was like, yeah, the owner's trying to sell it, and wanted like $5,000 for it or something. And as we already talked about, I love wagons. Love wagons. And so I was like, man, and it was already on the lift, so I looked under it. The thing was solid. The thing was beautiful. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't need anything. We just serviced it and wanted like $5,000 for it. And I was like, man, and I was in the process of trying to sell my Derby, that British Volkswagen Polo Derby I had. And I had a few people chomping at the bit back home for that thing. And I think I was asking like $7,000 for the Derby. And I was like, oh man. And my buddy was like, we can take it down off the lift. You want to take it for a spin? I was like, yep. So I drove it around the block, and it was a manual 4-speed with a electronic 2-speed overdrive. So it was like a 6-speed overall.
Yep.
And so on the shift knob, it had a toggle switch, high and low. So you'd go first, second, third low, third high, 4 low, and then shift into 4 high.
Huh.
And it worked. It was like a vacuum operated, or electronic 2 vacuum operated override.
Yep.
Overdrive, I mean. And so that, I think after that, it became a realistic dream car for me.
I think
because I didn't even know it existed until I saw it, and I was like, I need that.
I think a realistic TR5.
Yeah,
I'd like to, fun little. I wouldn't even do anything. Just fun little cruiser.
Rip around in.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yep.
I think those are. I don't know what the pricing on those. I think they're realistic.
They're not. Anyway. I highly doubt they're like astronomical. Yeah, like exactly. No Poke, No Love asked, Josh, are you planning on making a throwback shirt with the Revival and GENGSTOUT logos?
Yes. So, well, I don't know if both logos, but some sort of play on them.
Dude, we're coming up on, well, maybe we've surpassed it, but we're basically at the 10-year mark that GENGSTOUT would have been around.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think we just surpassed it because
would have been pretty cool.
Would have been last year sometime.
I have a few GENGSTOUT shirts.
I think
I've got the Knuckles shirt.
Maybe I know I always love the beer logo one.
Yep.
Maybe we do a play on that. Cool. That'd be fun to do.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, anything you decide to bring back, people are going to be stoked.
I mean, I don't want to make anybody mad, but John and I are going to run GangStout stickers on our cars.
Yeah.
Because John's building Mark II.
Dude.
But we're not going to make them to sell or give out. It's just, we're making 2 of them.
Well, let's just say this. If it's the Bruins logo, I still have white.
I still get some of those.
I still have a handful of those.
Those, I don't know. Like, I have some that are so old, I don't know if you could actually use them.
Yeah, mine are.
Because they're like dry rotted.
Yeah, you gave me a stack of the white, like, Bruins.
Yeah.
With the G in the middle.
Yeah.
Probably 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, so on my road case with all the gear, and I've got the gang sticker I showed you.
Yep.
But I thought about putting the white die cut on there too. But yeah, I've got some.
Matter
Who knows
fact,
if
it's
they
funny.
still
I
stick.
still, on a couple of Pelican cases I have, that's what I have. And I made a giant one at one point too. So it's on there.
Yep. Yeah. So that'd be cool to see a revival of.
I think
shirt.
There'll be some sort of shirt or something. Because I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily replicate it, but maybe a play on it in some way.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'm sifting down through some of the questions, and then we can close it up. We're at an hour and 45 now.
Cool.
Hour and a half. I think we were recording for quite a while before we went live.
Get shaking.
A couple quick ones, just because I think these guys wanted to ask questions in the first couple episodes and didn't get a chance to. My buddy Logan Labraney asked, is the 7.3 ever going to make its way back up to New Hampshire? That dually I just bought.
Yep.
Yes, it is, because regardless if I move to Chattanooga this year or not,
you're going to need it to move.
I'm bringing, and the Corvair and my enclosed trailer is still down in Chattanooga. So yeah, Logan, I'm going to be coming home with it mid-March after Riverside. Logan lives down the street from me.
Okay.
Like I mentioned this on episode 2, I could literally throw a rock from my house and probably hit his front yard. So, and he works at a Ford dealership, and man, Logan, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he's like 20 or so, graduated high school in the last couple of years, and is like really into dirt biking. He's a shredder, like on a mini bike.
Yeah.
Like he's really into like, extreme sports and stuff. And he's got a Ford truck as well. So I can tell that him and his crew are like really stoked to like see truck. The diesel when it comes home.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be home mid-March. And I think, boy, we skipped around on some of these. Ad Vanagon Chur. So basically Vanagon in the middle. Ad Vanagon Chur asks, whose Vanagon is at the Revival headquarters? Also, I think this is for both of us. Will you ever build a bus? So first of all, whose Vanagon is
that is a customer, essentially just storage customer.
Yeah. Okay.
So our facility is big enough to where we have the ability to store cars for some people. So essentially that's a customer.
Yep. And I'm sure he's asking because, and I've seen it too.
Absurd.
You see it in like your stories that you're posting and stuff on the Instagram.
So that thing came from like Idaho or something. I can't remember. Somewhere way out there.
Yep.
And my understanding is that it used to be on a privately owned property where the owner just used it to move firewood back and forth.
Oh, wow.
For a long time.
It lived an easy life.
But was used.
Yep.
And when the owner got it, it was obviously very dirty inside and all that sort of stuff. And he did a bunch of stuff to kind of get it clean again. And it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a great looking rig. So the second part of that is, will you ever build a bus? And my good friend Kyle Golding from South Carolina has built a business pulling Volkswagen relics out of the woods.
Yep.
And whether or not he gets them running or not, basically sells them. And he's always got buses. He's always pulling bay window or splitty buses out of the woods.
Yep.
And because he's in South Carolina, he's going as far as like Alabama. And they're all still solid and they're all still, workable. He's currently got a 70 bay window that has perfect patina, like sunburnt, perfect patina that he wants $2,000 or best to offer for.
Oh man.
And to expand on that question, I love buses. I love Beetles, especially slammed. Yep. I love a slammed old air-cooled bus or Beetle, but I've never been interested in owning or building one. Like never. I draw the exception line at a Zwitter or a Splitty Bug. But those have now reached not unobtainable price, but like to where I don't want to build one for that
if
price.
If you're going to be dedicating that much funds to something, it's not going to be
exactly. But that being said, because it hasn't been an end-all car or bus for me, it's not like I've been growing up like some people have, being like, I'm going to own one day and I'm going to work until I get it. But recently, in the last like 2 years, buses have really been growing on me. And I chalk a lot of that up to Robert, Full Move Technic as well. Yep. He's got a 56 double door bus that's got a 993 Porsche motor in. And the thing, it looks awesome. It's low to the ground, but the thing goes like there's no tomorrow. But yeah, that 70 bay window my buddy Kyle has, I've even sent it to Cory Marshall. I sent him like a screenshot of it. I'm like, dude, are we seriously going to South Carolina to get this thing?
It'd be cool because they can be used in different you could build a bus, but it could be built around something else.
And you could use it.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Whether or not you go camping in it with the family, or you have some sort of pop-up store in it or something.
Like that. Exactly.
That's
how I picture it. I have no plans or want to build a bus or anything like that.
Yeah.
If anything, maybe get a Beetle for my wife because she really likes them.
Yep.
But that'd be about it. I just, for whatever reason, those things, they're cool. And I
kind of feel the same way.
I just don't have an attraction towards those things.
I feel the same way. But man, when I see one static sitting on the front bumper, I'm like, oh man, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, they look the business.
Did you see the photos of the Super Bugger I posted a couple weeks ago? The camper bug?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That thing was
those things
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It was rad looking.
Immediately,
See,
I was thinking,
that's a perfect Ludwick car because it's
like
obscure and
bizarre.
Man.
Yeah. So immediately I was thinking of like mobile podcast unit and something like that. But dude,
Yep.
you'd go through transmissions every other week if you're trying to drive that thing. For how heavy that thing is.
Right.
Well, you know what I am going to do, and I kind of blew smoke about it on Instagram, is I'm going to, dude, I'm so excited about the idea. I'm gonna start a series. As long as I can own the car long enough, I'm going to start a series of podcast shorts from the back of the century.
Yep.
And I'm going to call it the podcast of the century.
That would be pretty good. We thought about doing that with a Kai van.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Because we've obviously been obsessed with those things, right? And what started it was last summer, myself, Chuck, and Cory got to take out our friend Pete's. He's just like, oh yeah, here, go for a blast.
Yep.
And it was, again, this is why we do these things. It's just the joy of slow.
Oh yeah,
because
dude, you're preaching to the choir.
The three of us in that thing, foot to the floor,
Oh,
doing a whole bunch of 35 miles an hour.
barely that
was
probably
one of the funnest times in a vehicle I've had in a long time.
So
it was just
good.
hilarious because
Yep.
we literally from start to finish just laughed the entire
Yep.
time. But that's where it stemmed from. It was like, man, it'd be awesome to get one of these. And I actually thought make it like a mobile podcast, but maybe put like a, what do you call it? A thing that comes out from the side.
Like an awning? Like a little awning?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
An awning, set up the booth
Yep.
out of that
Yep.
manner.
Yeah, and
but
that'd be perfect for like a static podcast. What I want to do with the Century is it's going to be best to do it in Ocean City because that's where like a lot of people that I want to sit down with, and we're going to cruise the strip.
Yeah.
And we'll do like 10 or 15 minute podcast shorts.
Yep.
And when we stop at red lights, be able to look out the window and kind of talk about what's going on.
Right.
And that has a partition window that goes up. So I'll be able to mount a GoPro to it facing back.
Yeah.
I'm going to mount one on the back window facing forward so you can see everything that we see, the TVs and the center console and all that stuff. And have the audio recorders, which are all battery operated, and have the actual microphones and the booms because there's tables in the car.
You can set that thing up perfectly.
And have this audio quality that we have here in the Century.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
who's going to drive it? That's what you got to figure out.
Cory's
he's down to drive
Cory's
it.
already volunteered himself to drive that thing, but we got to get him in a suit.
I was going to say he's got to dress the part. Yeah.
Oh, and he's totally down. But yeah, so using something like a bus or like the Century to utilize as like a cool like mobile podcast setup.
That's I look at those things like not the Century in particular, but the bus stuff, just like utilitarian. You know, that sort of idea, something like that.
Which I think that's why I like the buses too. Boy, man, I mean, we might have chiseled through.
We cover most of it.
I skipped over a few just for time's sake, but there were more questions just directed towards me. But my buddy BJ McCardle asked, "What are some of the project cars that you'd love to own someday?" I know you're in the middle of building the M3.
Yeah, the M3. I'm just obsessed with M3s, anything and everything.
And E36 M3s look so good.
It was my least favorite one for the longest time, but now I'm just like, nope, that's it.
I think I've done the same exact transformation that you have. Yeah. Because for the longest time, I couldn't have cared any less about E36 M3s. Yep. And now both the coupes and the sedans, the saloons, I love those cars so much.
And even like, obviously some of the stuff that we don't get here, but like the Alpina E36s, some of the coolest looking cars.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm pretty well set on E36 M3 for a while. Yeah. And that's going to be long haul because even if the S52 goes away at some point, I'd prefer an S54, but I'd still like to keep the E36 platform.
Yeah.
As much as I love E46s too, that was like my first real one.
Right.
Love for that thing, but I'm pretty well set on E36.
And now that you own it, I mean, because of what the E30 M3s are doing, the E36s are just in queue.
I'll never. That's the thing. I'm never going to get rid of it now because
you might as well not.
And the reason I bought it was because same thing. Like, well, this thing came up. I have the opportunity to grab it now. I might as well because I don't know if I'm ever going to have the chance.
Right.
Depending upon the way the market goes.
Yep.
At some point, it's going to be like, yep, I can't grab one anymore.
Exactly.
So
it's awesome that you got it.
Yeah. Just take advantage of it. Grab it. It's rough around the edges, but that's what I wanted because I don't it's not a show car. It's not going to be a show car.
And you're not going to be nervous to drive it hard like
that's
you want
purely what it's going to be for is driving. Fun with driving. I don't even think I'm going to have a radio in there. Just nothing other than driving it.
Those S52s sound amazing. So you don't
that's
need a radio.
That's the thing. It's just like I don't want. Yeah, it's just as is. Realistically, focus on not even go fast parts, but suspension, brakes.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. Good set of tires.
Man, it's going to be such a fun car.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming to do.
Yep. And that's a vintage. That's old enough to where you still don't have like a ton of modern like driver's aids. Like you're still driving a car.
Yeah, it's still
you know
very, very right. It's weird because it's got the I forget what the hell they call it, but BMW's like alert system in there.
Yep.
Which now it's old enough to where nothing actually works.
Right. Exactly.
So even the stuff I fix and go back, it's going to inevitably fail again.
Those things
so
had like a 15-year like lifespan.
So some of the stuff's like, yeah, I don't need that. Just get rid of it.
So I mean, you are currently working.
I have the car that when I bought the S4, and it's funny because Chuck says this and he absolutely nails it. He's like, oh yeah, everybody who buys an S4 in New England wanted an M3. That's exactly what I wanted an M3. I had one in particular that I was looking at in Tennessee, and I just couldn't make it happen or get there to buy said car. So I'm like, shit, I need something. So I just ended up buying the S4.
Yeah, that was a B6. That was a V8 one too, right?
Yeah,
that's right. I remember that car. Yep.
I like that thing a lot.
Yeah.
Love the thing actually. It was just kind of the perfect little fly around, more than fast enough to enjoy. Intake, exhaust, and coilovers and stuff like that.
I think Audi does an amazing job with combining the luxury and sports car. Like the S4, like the first time I ever sat in a B5 S4, and it had like KO4s maybe, and it didn't have much done to it. And the go that thing had for how comfortable and how like aesthetically pleasing the whole interior of that car was. A black leather.
Everything
like, wow.
typically works with itself from the speed to the it's like, especially when you go to the S models, there's an A4. It's nice. There's some luxury stuff, but the S4, like this is nicer. This feels nicer. It has different whatever.
And it goes.
And then they go. Right. Yeah. It's I miss that car too. That's another one I'd like to have kept, but I didn't really want to pay the Audi tax on a 4.2 V8, and I'm not mechanically inclined enough to take on the timing chain tensioners or anything like that.
And those are, I think Cory and I were talking about those.
Those
are
on
in the back.
Yeah, back right near the firewall. Yep. So I'm almost certain, unless I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain you have to take the whole motor out and stuff like that.
And then separate the transmission and
then suddenly you're into a car that. Into the repair of a car that's not worth that.
And if you're not doing it yourself, which obviously would take forever, you're going to pay somebody shop labor to do that.
It'd be absurd.
It'd be absolutely absurd.
Yeah, something. I mean, now, if I could, I'd probably be comfortable with buying an RS4 because we happen to have Noah the God and Jesse Witzel, and there's enough people who would know and be there to help me with it. And if we have a shop space to do it in where I can sit down for a couple of weeks and not have to worry about paying someone to turn it right around.
And once you get those lifts up out there, it's going to change everything.
That's the thing. It's just like things suddenly become more feasible for long-term projects.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I think we can wrap this thing up.
Dude, yeah,
I mean,
thank you.
The shop is looking amazing. I mean, like I just said, once you guys get those lifts up, what a dream spot.
I mean, dare I say, it's going to be like a motoring enthusiast playground,
right?
To a certain extent. We have a perfect yard outside for cars and coffee.
Got plenty of space.
We could actually probably host an actual show here if we wanted to.
Well, speaking of which, next Saturday you are.
So yeah, it's not car show, but like essentially we're going to host a magazine release party.
Yeah, so release party.
Issue number 5 is done. It's physically at print. I should be picking it up next Friday. So again, with the wanting to do stuff in the community and keep people busy in the winter, or give them something to do automotive-wise in the winter, I figured, let's just have a release party for the magazine.
Yep.
The remaining copies that aren't sold will be here. We'll have a booth set up. I'm going to have Jay Bird with his Mark I. Toby's car is actually here. I think our friend Phil is going to come with his truck and basically have a bunch of cool cars on display with some lights, with banners, things like that.
Perfect.
Refreshments for people, wine and cheese. We're going to have wine and cheese in a warehouse. So yeah, just really a good reason for people to come out, hang out, have some fun, and that's it. See some cool cars.
Next Saturday, right?
Next Saturday, yep.
22nd?
February 22nd.
22nd.
From 6 to 10. We put 10, but there's really no time we got to be out.
I wish we had, like I said before, I wish we'd lined it up to where we were doing this
next same day.
Next weekend. Yeah. And it's falling on just a conflict of schedule where this worked out for you. Obviously, you're going to be busy next weekend, and I'm buried in the shop on the Century right now.
Yeah, so like today is Saturday. I'm going to go home today. Won't be here tomorrow, but Monday I happen to have off. It's holiday.
Yep.
I'll be here doing a bunch of stuff. And then we're back Wednesday to record.
Yep.
I'll do some more stuff then. Probably back Friday to finish up the last bit, and then back Saturday, obviously, for the party.
Yeah, you have plenty going on.
Load in the cars and hopefully get everybody else squared away.
Yep. Man, that's awesome.
So, yeah, it's truly this, again, it's the opportunity came for this place, and we had to jump on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
And I feel like we're going to grow into it. That's what I'm hoping.
For sure.
It's just hopefully Revival continues to grow into whatever it's going to be. Mainly, I think, like a media outlet, essentially.
Between
the magazine, between the videos, between now I can call it a podcast network because we're going to have multiple shows on there.
Yep.
And just continue to push it. Like I said, grow into this place, make cool shit with cool people. That's it.
Man. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it?
That's it.
That's the dream. Imagine doing that full time some point.
It'd be crazy.
I mean, if it was pulling its weight and it was doing enough.
That's the thing. If we reach like a certain number for magazine sales, I think my wife will do it full time first.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that'll, it'll kind of warrant itself.
Yep.
And then who knows? I don't know. Just because if it's going to get to that point, or I hope it gets to that point where it's like, wow, I can't manage this. I have to put more time into it.
Right. And you know that's inevitable. You're gonna reach that crossroad. At the growth that you've already seen, especially tangible growth, where you're at, that crossroads gonna show itself at some point.
I hope so. Yeah.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
And this is the first time. Again, like with the GENGSTOUT stuff, this is the first time, like, I believe in this fully.
Yep.
And other people do as well.
Yep.
And that's it, and we're going to give it as much as we can from myself, my wife, Chuck, Cory, John, like this is Tom. We're building a team, and we're going to give it hell. We're going to see what happens.
I mean, it's under its own motion now. You know what I mean? It's got its own momentum. And I know you can probably attest to this, to where it's like, not that you're not putting in all your effort, because you are, but it's like, it's easy in a way. You know what I mean? Like
we don't have to worry about how, we just got to worry about doing it versus how it's going to do it.
Exactly.
So like, I know we're going to make another magazine.
Yep.
I know we're going to
that's what I mean.
Podcast.
Yeah,
it's just
the momentum is there,
and we can really focus on the content. The structure is built.
Right.
That's where it is. And sure, there's going to be other stuff. Little stuff like, all right, want to redo the booth. That
small
it's
stuff.
Different.
Yeah.
So, kind of side things.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about. I guess when I mean easy, it's easier that it's under its own momentum. It's you've got listeners, you've got viewers, you've got people you've got an audience.
Yeah.
To where now you can just focus on all the details.
Yeah, exactly. It's right. The foundation is there.
Exactly.
And hopefully, do our best to secure that and continue to build off it.
Well, hey man, Instagram, Revival Motoring.
Yep. At Revival Motoring on Instagram.
Your Instagram.
I am at Revival_Josh.
That's right.
There's also at Chuck who is a co-host, at Cory.si, at Tom. What is Tom's now? I can't remember.
Ooh, so Connors, right?
Tom Connors.
So Tom.
I know it was 2D, and then
Tom's had the worst luck with his stupid Instagram being hacked and like hijacked.
Legit, for some, he could tell the story way better than I can.
It's been like 4 times he's had an Instagram.
His 2D name, I guess there were just multiple people who wanted that really bad. I don't know if it's something company-wide related or business related. For whatever reason, they really wanted it. So I think it got hacked and it got stolen.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stories associated with it.
So many times. Yeah. But Tom, I don't know what
Tom,
his I'll look it up right now so we can get it right.
Tom Connors. At John Stairs. And John again, Stairs. You can visit our website, revivalmotoring.com. At the moment, I'm not sure when this is coming out, but after the release party. So after February 22nd, the remaining stock of the magazine will be physically on the website, and then that'll be it. So this go around, we made about 300 of them. So once those are all sold, it's sold. And that's the way it's going to be until, until for the foreseeable future. Because I don't want to buy 1,500 magazines and have them sitting here.
On stock, yeah.
So yeah, you can follow our YouTube. Just search at Revival Motoring, and then obviously our podcast on any of the players. You search Revival Motoring Podcast, it will come up. Google, all that sort of stuff now.
Yep. And Tom Connor's Instagram is Situation Rad.
All right, so he's back to that.
Yeah, and I did remember that, but I wanted to make sure since we were trying to get his name out there too. Situation Rad. Just the way you'd spell it if you were writing it out.
Yep.
And man, this is awesome.
Thank you. This was great. It was fun.
This is what I wanted. Like the first couple of times I was on with you, like I wanted to like change the conversation to GENGSTOUT.
Talk about that stuff.
Because I know a lot of people just want to, because when you brought Revival back, people were like, so what's up with GENGSTOUT?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's just the progression and the maturity. That's really what it comes down to. Because looking at it, a lot of the same people are involved. We have new people, yes, but the general core, it's kind of still there. And I think that's why naturally a lot of the stuff is going to feel, if you remember GENGSTOUT, it's going to feel similar. Because it's us. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. It's us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But man, so awesome to see you doing, back into automotive space. And cause I remember when you were kind of quiet with it. I mean, I would text you at certain times and be like, so, you plan on going to any shows? When am I going to see you again?
No, it's one of those things just kind of didn't disappear off the face of the earth. But as far as that scene, just didn't have a reason to go. It wasn't building a car, or, and I should have, because there's a lot of friends I didn't see, yourself included.
Right.
I should have made that effort.
But life changes. You were building a family and working on
things. Get going. Played golf and I don't know, whatever.
I hear that, man.
But I'm back. It's here,
dude. I'm happy to see it. Cool. I'm glad you did this, man. This has been awesome,
dude. It's been fun.
Let's get some lunch.
Get some shawarma.
Shawarma?
Yeah.
Oh man,
let's do it.
I can't wait. All right. Hey, thank you guys for listening. And you can follow me on Instagram as well, John Ludwick, JOHN.Ludwick, LUDWICK. The Governor's Club spelt out. And I don't know what's up for episode 4. We're gonna figure it out. Cory and I might sit down one more time. We're gonna be at Riverside in Chattanooga, Tennessee, March 14th. Going to be down there with the Corvair. Purpose and Passion TGC collaboration shirts are ordered. They will be in soon. Working on the Riverside TGC collaboration key rings. Yeah, come to Riverside and get some exclusive merchandise that I'll only have available at the show. And we will see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for listening. See you guys.
See ya.
I have to pee so bad.
Dude, that's the one thing about this room with that off. When you have to go to the bathroom and it gets cold, it's like one of those, it makes it so much worse.
I'm so hungry and I have to pee so bad. But the mixture of those two things was getting very uncomfortable.